Patrick.
Yep. Hello, people. Welcome to Wednesday Night Chat with the dudes. Right now, it's just Ringo and
George Harrison
and Ringo. We're missing Paul McCartney and John Lennon. So
I think John's with Yoko right now. So
yeah,
he's off being an artist.
Well, welcome, folks. So let me open the chat here so that I see who's talking. I did have the chat open, but for some dumb reason, I close it. Let me. So, did you buy anything this week?
I did, but that's for your eyes only.
Oh, not the one that you showed me last week.
No, something else.
Something else. My goodness, Anthony,
yes,
you're on the roll.
After next week. Next week's a New York Con. I'm going to be taking a little. I need to take a break.
You're taking a lot of money to the con.
I've been sort of
cash. Do you bring cash?
Yeah, this time I am. I usually don't bring cash. I usually keep it in my PayPal. But like listening to you and seeing Patrick and Mike in action at Heroes Con, I'm saying to myself, yeah, I probably should bring cash because when people see it, like you said, sometimes they'll go for the deal.
Yeah. Well,
so I'm going to bring cash.
Already 17 people popped in, and we have 71 Kings, the Papa John Nick. I don't think I have ever seen that before.
Huh.
Ken Morrissey and Eugene C. That's the Chinese last name, I believe, but I never know how to pronounce it. C? T-S-E? Correct me if I'm wrong.
T-S-E?
T-S-E.
T-S-E. Okay.
I have seen that last name quite a few times, but I have always have no idea how to pronounce it. So yes, welcome to the chat. Hopefully Patrick and John would pop in. I have one question for us, but I'm going to save the question until
we get a couple more people.
Until they get here, because this way we don't have to ask twice.
Yeah.
But
so speaking, okay, I saw your new vid series, Copper Age.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good, and a lot of the points you made on it were right on.
Yeah, I have.
Hey, Patrick.
Hello.
Patrick is here. Yay! Yes, thank you, Eugene. I shot so many videos, and when my computer died, I lost a lot.
Yeah. Because
I shot the way I do it, right? Is some of my video take 30 minutes, some of them take 5 minutes, some take 10. But I usually, whenever I'm in the mood to shoot something, I would sit down and literally shoot like 10 videos.
Yeah.
Like I might not shoot a video for like 4 days, and I would sit down and do like 5 videos. And I usually just leave them in the camera. Bad idea. Sometimes the camera, the memory go haywire and I had to reboot and kill it. But I now load them into my computer. And a lot of time, many of them need editing, all that stuff. So I just leave them there. And then whenever I feel like loading certain things, I try to find what video is what and then load it. But when my computer died last month,
kaput.
I lost probably 15 to 20 videos. Wow. Because they are on my hard drive and they died, and they already been wiped out from my camera. So there's no way to, and many of them are the Copper and Bronze Age underrated books. So bummer there. I still have half a dozen Silver Age underrated stuff and a couple Bronze and Copper, but I lost about 15 or so Bronze and Copper videos. So I'm not sure I want to reshoot those videos.
Or at least just yet.
Carl on bad basis here.
Hey, Carl. Yeah, I thought that the video was really good. I mean, that vid issue, what an issue to start with, too.
It is. I love Spider-Man 298.
Yeah, those are for, like you said, those are usually forgotten. Sometimes they get lost in a mix. The 298 and even the 299 to some extent. They're very similar looking covers, too.
Yeah, exactly. I have been mistaken both of them. I'm like, hello, Doc. Doc is here.
Yeah, look, John Lennon has arrived.
Yay.
Yes, Yickety Yackety is here. Cougar Comic is here as well.
Hey, Mike.
No, I'm a review, John.
now that the gang is here, let's.
Uh-oh, Patrick's starting to drink. This
Yeah.
is
Oh my
by
goodness.
7:30. We're gonna have problems.
It's a slippery
Kurt is
slope.
here as well. Joker 68 is here.
Hey, Kurt.
Let me ask the question. This is the question for Nice of Old. Here's a question I think will be interesting for the four of us to answer, but I let you guys go first. I will read the question exactly as the way he typed it.
Okay.
Can you talk a bit on how flipping changed collecting and the market? What would the market look like if it revert back to the times when your option to sell were setting up at a con or sell to a local comic shop or dealers?
Ooh. You guys go.
I
I'm not
think
as.
John should go first. He has the most experience selling in person.
Yeah.
I just woke up. Someone else is gonna have to go first.
Okay.
Is that why you got the hat on? You know, for hat hair.
Yeah, actually,
All
it
right.
is.
Well, I can go first if you guys don't want to go. No doubt. Well, I talk about this in other videos, but it all comes down to the internet. You know, for all of us that collected, even in the 90s, through the 70s and before that, we had little options. Okay, the notion that somehow flipping is something new. No, flipping was enabled because of the internet. Because heck, if I could sell as easy as I could today, 25 years ago, I would have. It's not about like, oh, all of a sudden I decided to try to flip some stuff to buy some stuff. I think the internet make it easier in order for you to sell something, to buy something you want, or to buy something. Sure, the market also make it easier for flipping, no doubt, because back in the 80s and the 90s, well, maybe not the 90s, but I'm sure John through the 70s, me through the 80s, books was not appreciating at this pace.
No.
No,
You're absolutely right.
no, certainly not. No.
No, I think flipping to a large degree has flourished because of the internet and because of the movie era. Before the movies, the only time books went up really is when something that was written into the storylines happened.
Yeah, like the clone. I remember in the 90s, we had the Spider Clone saga. All of a sudden, everybody wanted Amazing Spider-Man 149, which was dollar bin, 50-cent bin fodder.
Yep.
And when they started introducing that maybe this Spider clone's the real Peter Parker and this could be a big story arc, everybody was a big fan of that book all of a sudden. It went from like $1 to $150 overnight. I remember that distinctively.
I think it's a knowledge thing too with the internet. It isn't just buying. Like before, you may not have known what someone's real first appearance was if you didn't pick up an Overstreet or something like that. Now, people put it right in their listings, and sometimes it's inaccurate. You know.
Well, you know,
who knows who Warlock's true first appearance is? I mean, you'll get a lot of arguments on that.
Yeah, but it's regardless. I think with what either book appreciates so much that we can flip so quickly for profit.
Yep.
But it's all come down to the internet still, because if I don't see something I want, I wouldn't care to flip something to sell, to use the money to buy something. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a combination of many things. It's the access, being able to see something that you need or you want for your collection, and then having something you don't want in your collection and that you can sell for more money and then use that money. So it's a combination of many things. But I go back to the internet. Okay, without the internet and the ease that it provides with seeing things and buying things and selling things, we wouldn't have this. You know, I wouldn't. Sure, rapid rise in price contribute to flipping, but trust me, without the internet, would we know something is rapid rising in price?
No, you wouldn't. I mean, you'd have to wait once a year to see the price increase.
Exactly. That's why, you know, when it comes down to it, I'm just like, and the second part of his question is, what would the market look like if it revert back? I don't know how to answer that part, because to me, there is no returning back.
Yeah.
There is no way to put the genie back in the bottle. The internet is here. It is not going to go away and we are stuck with not be able to sell or buy. So I don't know how to answer that part. But go ahead.
Well said, Bud. You know, I was just about to say everything you just said. So, well, I wasn't really, but you know,
It's pretty accurate, John.
yes, it's.
Well, thank you.
That leads me to thinking something that I thought about today, and not so much but flipping, but how has YouTube changed your collecting or your hobby? For
That's
me,
a good one.
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, why do you collect? For the most part, you don't usually collect and don't interact with other collectors. So to a large degree, I think what you collect, it's you share it with people that like the similar things that you like us four have similar tastes in comics. We have our own specialty things we like, but we all kind of like the same era, same grade kind of thing. So I wonder how much has YouTube changed your collecting and how you view the hobby?
Good question. Good question. I can go last.
Okay. Anthony, you go first.
Me?
Yeah.
How's it changed my collecting by being on YouTube?
Or do you think it has?
I think I don't know. I don't know if it necessarily has. You know, I've always been a collector of older books, and from what I see, I mean, I see a lot of that on YouTube, but I also see a lot of recent pickup vids that are recent books that just came out. Those I really am not interested in, not because they're not good videos. It's because I really don't collect new books. You know, for me, it's a nostalgia thing. I like watching YouTube videos that collect older things that I'm interested in. I like horror, as you know. I like EC books. That's not necessarily the most popular on YouTube, but I enjoy going that route. And whenever I see somebody that has ECs or pre-code horror, I'm naturally I gravitate to that. But I also like the older things. When I first started out on YouTube, you know, I showed a couple of new books to try to seem like I was doing what everyone else is doing. Then I realized that I really didn't like it too much. I was like, this really isn't me. And I just sort of went my own way. And I tried to carve out a niche for myself. But I don't know if it necessarily changed me completely. I'm still the same guy. But I guess I'm changing the way I used to. You know, I watch guys like Nick. I watch guys like you and John. It's made me wiser to things, if you can believe that. You know, you know, I've certainly learned a lot from watching some YouTubers. You guys in particular, like, you know, when it comes to grading, you know, I see Nick's videos. I'm constantly learning. So that's maybe changed the way I collect too. What to look for when I want a book. I tend to stay in when it comes to the big books, the low to mid-grade range, because that's, you know, what I could afford. Yeah. That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah.
Okay, John, you want to go next?
Sure. What it did for me was actually quite literally keep me involved in the hobby altogether, because until I discovered your channel, Nick, you know, I had been watching YouTube for years and years and years, and I never had searched for comic books. You know, I watch a lot of history documentaries, and that's what I use YouTube for. And I was pretty much done with the hobby. I rarely thought about comic books anymore. You know, I would only flip through my books a couple of times a year. You know, so it gave me, it reconnected me to the hobby. And then, you know, once I started making my own videos, it really got the wheels turning, and all of a sudden my mind was firing on comic books again, and I had all these decades worth of memories that I wanted to get down in videos. And so, you know, when I started making my videos, I did the whole chronological thing from the 60s all the way through to the current day. And I mean, that took how long to plow through all that kind of stuff. So yeah, long story short, it just kept me involved. It just when I thought I was really out and had been out for some time, you know, this pulled me back in. Thank you, Nick.
I am to blame.
Yes.
For most
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
How about Patrick?
Send your hate mail to Nick, everyone.
Well, you know,
He has enough.
for me, collecting before I came back, it was really a solitary thing. I didn't talk with other collectors. I mean, you'd bump into them on. I used to go Sundays when I go pick up my stuff, my pull list, and there'd be a few guys there here and there. But comic guys, I'd say in the hobby as a whole, aren't the real kind of outgoing, extroverted type. They tend to keep to themselves. They grab their books and they go. You know, sometimes if you say something to them about a certain book, you could see they're scanning for sarcasm. You know, is this guy really being nice? Does he really think Conan's great, or is he just making fun of him? You know, and so you know, it was like that. But when I came back, I noticed it was a little bit different, and I think the movies really did that. They made comic books so much more accessible to everybody. So I think a lot of that stigma of, you know, that nerds are for, you know, into comics and that kind of thing, I think a lot of that went away. And then I found YouTube. It started off simple, and it was Nick was the first one. One of the first ones I saw. I went on to look because I had an older book, and it was trying to remember what it was. I think it was A Strange Tales, but it was, you know, a '60s book, and I didn't know how to clean it. I was afraid to go at it with my white polymer eraser because I'd never cleaned an old book before, and he had a whole video on cleaning. And if any of you watch it, go back and watch Nick's older videos. He's I don't know if it's almost like he's been tranquilized. He's a lot more sedate, and he's very measured when he speaks. It's
Yes, I used to speak much slower.
yeah, it's a totally different Nick back then, and you know, you're going back 6 years now, right, Nick?
Yes, it's been
Yeah.
6 years.
So it's quite a while ago, and so I did that earlier in the week. I watched each one of you guys some of your earliest videos, and it's a totally different thing. I watched one of John's. I think it was the 2011 thing, John. You had like a 6-parter, I think.
Oh yeah, the 9/11 stories. Yeah.
But I watched each one of yours, and Anthony's.
There's some of mine that I took down.
Well, you were like almost like you had drank 8 cups of coffee. You were like super wound in your early videos, and I didn't know if that was coming from the video game thing or not. But you were just like, you were wound on something, and you're like flashing these books fast. And
try having a kid like Little Reaper. It zaps your energy.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, I haven't been around long enough to really have much of a difference, I don't think. So but to me, the big difference is YouTube really, I think, enhanced the hobby for me, the collecting for me. I see stuff that I didn't know existed before. Like Knights of Old showed one of those little big books, a ghost, space ghost book. I didn't know that existed before. So there's so much more education out there, and the whole videos are fine, but I love the stories behind like why you guys bought and when you bought. And John, one of my favorites is when you went to bed and you woke up and your dad had gotten you that Spider-Man treasure.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites too, John.
That's a great.
You slid it under the door, right? Or did he put it right near your bed?
No, it was just I cried myself to sleep over it, and then when I woke up, it was at the bottom of the bed.
Yeah. You know, that one and one earlier this year, Bueller did the one where he went back to his old house at my urging, and he found his old comic rack under the basement. It was still there. I freaking love that video. So it's stuff like that I just love about this community. And I think what you're seeing too, a lot of guys that maybe made tons of videos before and it was all haul videos, that grows old after a while.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of them, like, they're just gone. You don't see them anymore.
I was just about to say that. A lot of them, that was just haul after haul after haul.
Haul after haul. And I think one of two things happened. They got burnt out or bored, or they ran out of money. I mean, it's expensive to do.
The only one left, the champion of hauls is...
What, Mercenot?
Yes.
Yeah, but his are more like, he's more like a investment.
Well, he's been around. He's been around for a while. He wasn't. He's not a new guy that came around showing. I remember speaking at some guy was on, and he bought an EC book. This was a couple of years ago, and he was a new collector and all that stuff. And he was talking about, oh yeah, I heard about these ECs, and he's like, yeah, probably by the end of the year I'll have all of them. And I'm like, dude, man, you have no idea. And lo and behold, we don't see him anymore.
He's the weird animal because it's not like you can just break the checkbook out and complete the collection. It's just finding them is hard.
Yeah.
Ask EC Ed all about that.
Yeah. Okay, so my turn.
Your turn.
All right.
You're-
Uh,
Are you smoking a pipe? It looks like you have a pipe, like you're doing a
No.
Sherlock Holmes thing.
it's one of those Starbucks
Well,
drinking.
I was just about to say, all you need is like the hat, you know, like the.
The leprechaun.
You lucky
Well,
charm.
I don't think YouTube changed me that much. If anything, it probably, for sure, it does not change the way I collect or buy things because I've been this way forever. I rarely care what other people buy. Nothing I can say with certainty that I don't watch. I have never get inspiration to buy anything from any video. It's not because I have everything.
Yeah.
We haven't heard that in a few weeks now, Nick. So it's refreshing. It's refreshing to hear that.
Yeah, but I don't. It's just never me. It's when as Patrick say. Most of us that been around since the '80s, it's a solitude kind of hobby. I never hide what I collect. Some people were ashamed of the hobby, whatever it is. All through my adult life, all my girlfriend knew I collect. They saw the books. They saw me talk about the superheroes, and I never like, "Ooh, I'm a geek. I gotta hide this stuff." No, that's not me. But it's also a solitude thing. Even when I first came back in the hobby in 2008, if anything changed me, it's about showing my books. Okay, I can tell you if you go to the CGC forum. I was there very actively from late 2008 through 2012 for those 4 years. I posted 6,000 comments in many different places in there, but I post almost no pictures of any books because I didn't share what I have. I didn't care to share what I have, and it was interesting to communicate with the people in the CGC forum. But as far as like showing what's in my collection, all that stuff, I rarely show any pictures. And I think that's one of the things that kind of burned me out with the CGC forum was there is a segment of the forum that think that unless you show me what you have, your ideas and your opinion mean shit. And I said this many times, there's a bunch of snobs in there, And just because I don't show, all the key books in every freaking day, does not mean I don't know what I'm talking about. And I think that's one of my big turn off as far as the CGC forum it's an attitude that show me what you got, and the bigger the books, the more your words are worth. For those that disagree with that, let me know. But I'm sure some people will agree with me. But if anything, I think YouTube changed that because I think I was able to share some of the books that I have in my collection. But other than that, that's the only thing that changed as far as YouTube and me, is that I'm okay to show some of the stuff I have in my collection. But as far as buying habits, the way I collect, that didn't change.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. It's definitely a good question.
The stuff I think about.
Yeah. Here's one question I have for you guys. When I enter the hobby, right? Comic book is comic books. Okay, I don't know anything about ages, Silver Age, Golden Age. I knew nothing about that stuff until I bought my first prize guide in 1982. In 1982, I bought my first prize guide, and one of the things that kind of in my brain was Golden Age, Silver Age. Mm-hmm. So this is more about for Patrick and John. Like, at what point of your collecting cycle did you recognize that the hobby has designated certain things as Silver Age or Bronze Age?
Hey, what about me?
Well, you by the time you got in the 90s, they already done it. Like the people the thing is, the people in the 70s, from what I can tell, would know about the Marvel Age, right? Because that's what Marvel called themselves. The Marvel Age.
Called the Bronze Age. There was no bronze or copper. It was.
At what point, though? At what point can you guys remember? Like, what point did the hobby anoint?
I would say for me it was the late 80s. Before I realized there was a golden and a silver. To me, it was the Marvel Age, and then everything prior to that, prior to like I don't know, 1968.
How about you, John? Do you remember?
I don't remember when I first heard the term Silver Age. Certainly, I don't remember the first time I heard the term Bronze Age, but I first became aware of the ages, as it were, particularly the Golden Age, through Steranko's History of Comics. I read that 2-volume set back around 1975, and I got my first price guide in my first Overstreet guide in 1976, and that opened my eyes to a lot of things. So yeah, but between Steranko's History of Comics and the 1976 Overstreet guide, that's when I became aware of the ages as we know them.
Yeah, I think that's so basically. So now, to you, Anthony, did you learn about the ages through the price guide, or did you learn it somewhere else?
Yeah, I learned it through the price guide. Like you, Nick, when I first got into it, comic books were just comic books, and but I was introduced to the price guide, Wizard price guide, quite early, and I remember flipping through the back, and I remember seeing first S.A. Namor or first S.A. Riddler. And I was like, what the hell is that? And it stood for Silver Age. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Silver Age. And then I later found out, well, the Silver Age was in the 60s and all that. But those characters had made their original appearances in the Golden Age. And that's when I found out about the ages. I found out about them pretty early, though, when I flipped through the Wizard.
I found out about less than a year. Like, I started to buy my first book in 1981, and by early 1982, when I bought my first price guide, that's when I learned about the ages. And it's just, I still have it now. Speaking of which, I have it right here.
Oh,
right here.
There you go.
And I was going to say, yeah, that's the Alfred E. Newman cover, right?
Yeah,
I remember it well.
Now, the story, though, of the ages originated in the 60s, though, correct? With a fan letter to, I think, to Fantastic Four. A fan wrote in, said something about talking about how, this indeed is the Marvel Age, or something to that effect, where DC was really the golden age of comics. Marvel is ushering in the Silver Age. There was something to that effect, where I think that the origin of the terms.
I believe so.
I mean, not exactly word for word, but,
the first time that I saw the word Marvel Age was on Strange Tale Annual 2. If you go back, I've been trying to find out like when Marvel anoint themselves Marvel Age or give that term. And the earliest I can see, for those in the chat room, if you know it, let me know. Correct me, I don't know everything, thankfully. But I thought the very first time I saw in print Marvel Age was in Strange Tale Annual number 2. I have a copy. I should have brought it out. And I know in 1968, in one of those Stanley soapbox, Stanley announced the second second Marvel Age is the launch of 1968 books. So in one of those letter page Stan soapbox, you see it where Stanley say, we celebrate the Marvel Age, but the second Marvel Age is coming. Wait for the big announcement in the next few weeks or whatever it is. And it was the launch of the 1968 titles. So I saw that in one of the book that I have. But yeah, it's fascinating as far as how, for those in the chat room, if you know the history of like who coined the term like Silver Age or Bronze Age or Copper.
I always thought it was Overstreet that did that.
They could have been. It could have been. It could be somebody else.
But I actually remember the term Marvel Age from the books themselves. Like I remember little blurbs, probably getting into the 70s. there would be a blurb on a book or an ad or something. It would say, "Face front, true believers, the Marvel age is here." You know, and those were the things that I remember actually first hearing the term Marvel age.
Yeah, the Marvel age thing, you know, popped up in a lot of places, but like I said, hopefully somebody can point me to the right direction. But the earliest that I can see in print is on the cover of Strange Tale Annual Number 2, which came out like 1962, 63, 1963, roughly. Interesting, I think, you know, because, you know, it's just funny how, well, Overstreet could have been the one, but it could be somebody else in the hobby, and then Overstreet use it, just like the 10-point scale, right? There's a lot of discussion on like who started the 10-point scale, and I think Metropolis claimed that.
When did the 10-point scale come out? That's I've always wondered.
Yeah.
That. When did like very fine and terms like very good and very fine? Have they been out since the 60s?
Yes. If you look at the old, prior to Overstreet that came out in 1970, right? The very first Overstreet. If you look at those Robert Bell old list, okay, and things that came out in the late 60s, they already talk about near mint.
Yeah.
Okay, so those terms are not Overstreet. Okay, that's why, you know, a lot of people just think that Overstreet created everything. No, they didn't. They didn't. If you go to the convention, Anthony, ask Vincent.
If I see him, yeah, I'll hopefully see him next week.
Ask Vincent about the 10-point scale.
I think a lot of that probably came over from the card collectors, didn't it? The terms and the point scale. Because that's been around longer.
I'm looking in the press and looking here. Okay. Stephen Wilkinson said, at some stage they decided that Showcase 4 was a dawn of the Silver Age, according to Overstreet Price Guide. Silver was never used during the 60s. That's correct, Cougar, because it had been later, right? I mean, we wouldn't call ourselves something. It's always a future generation that would label the generation.
I find the coin that says something like BC on it.
10-point scale has its origin in coin collecting, according to Jay-Z. Liking the cover is here. Hello. So is Ken Morrissey. Hello.
Hi, Daryl.
Simon Comics is here as well, and he said that I learned it through my grandfather and my dad. Simon grandfather, I believe, have a run of Captain America 1 to 10.
Awesome.
That's how Simon Comics become a big fan of Joe Simon.
Nick, I think, was it you that we were chatting back and forth this week about when are they going to come out with a new age? I mean, the Copper Age ended in '91.
No, I did not.
The modern age has been going on since '92. It seems like there should be a break in there.
It seems like it's not so modern anymore.
Yeah, for years in the CGC forum, there have been discussion and almost mocking of the modern age, and they call it maybe going from 2000 onward called the Foy Age.
I think like from '92 to maybe 2005. You could call it the Tin Age. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was copper, right?
Yeah, it's.
I think with Civil War, when that came out, that was kind of a new thing with the big crossover type thing. I think that really set us on the path we're on now. And then shortly thereafter came Iron Man, and it just seems like that 2005 to me, it would make a good split date. But who knows?
Yeah, it's certainly. I think you can't call things from the 80s or things from the 90s.
Yeah, 92 to today are in the same era. They don't even resemble themselves.
I don't really have a good name for it.
I imagine they'll do something sooner or later, because I know when I got out of the hobby, I remember hearing the term bronze, but I don't remember hearing copper. I didn't hear that term till I came back.
Lord Tedman in the chat room have a good suggestion. He called it the variant age.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's what you were talking about that one time, Nick.
Yes,
calling it the variant.
I brought up the variant age.
Yeah. You're the one that I think coined that term.
I don't know. I can't claim that. I may have heard it from somewhere else, but it would fit if the hobby
makes sense.
If the hobby, see, at the end of the day, it's a collective of the hobby that decided, 10 years from now to say everything from the 90s from now is called the variant age because the variant was birthed in the 90s. That's fine with me too. And then change whatever going from here forward is modern. Move the modern to modern. The way I see it, because modern is always modern, right? So let's migrate the modern that we thought was modern from the late 90s through the 2000 to the variant age, and then keep this one now as modern.
They could stay with the metals, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of buying things, I bought a few things. I can show one thing. Believe it or not, this is I think Dr. Von Schiller gave me one of these books. One of this book. Never buy a copy of this book ever in all of my years of collecting, but the right copy finally show up for the right price. You know me, I can be very patient.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes, that's it. Look at that. Look at that razor sharp corner. No creases, nothing.
I was hoping it would happen someday. So
yeah, John gave me a reader's copy a long time ago. I still have it. But this one has been on my radar for years and years and years. But it's one of those books where every damn Adams collector chased after it.
Yeah.
And I finally got myself a nice high-grade copy for cheap. So you know me.
Good Cobra.
For the right price, the Cobra comes. Hey, people. Yeah. I saw a copy last week. Went for from my comic shop an 8.0, $215. Say what?
Yeah, that seems steep.
I'm like, how about this one for under $90 shipped?
Cha-ching.
Yeah, that's the way. That's my kind of shopping. Yeah. $215. Get out of here.
There's a bunch of auctions ending tomorrow night on Comic Link.
Yes. Speaking of auction, for those speaking of auction, it's quarter end, so eBay is trying to squeeze every nickel it can for its shareholders. So 10% eBay bucks is here.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody got that email, right?
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and I have yet to spend it.
No.
But the Comic Link auction is ending tonight.
And tomorrow night too.
It's a lot of big one. You guys want to see it?
There's nothing giant though. There's a lot of books, but nothing like really big.
Let me switch over. What is
15 marks though, so I'm gonna try to man up and get something. I haven't bought anything in so long.
Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, those are some big ones.
Yes, FF1 7.0. You see the price? 37 grand.
Jeez.
X-Men 1 7.0, dark green.
Oh, it's dark green.
The rare one, right, Nick?
15 grand.
Damn.
How about the Hulk 189.8?
John, you interested?
Yeah.
You finally get your copy.
Finally.
The one I'm eyeing right here, Detective 76. Check this out.
Oh wow!
What a beauty, huh?
Yeah, that's a nice book.
Any Joker cover from that age is gorgeous.
He's getting him with the Super Soaker.
7.0, 7.0 white page. How about this Hulk 7.5, Hulk 181?
That's your book right there, John. That's where you strike right there.
I think John has the highest bid on that one. But look at that Fantastic 4.5.
0.5 for 3,000.
Jeez.
It's rough too. I looked at it.
Whew.
Goodness gracious.
That's insane.
Insane in the membrane. That's what it is. How
Damn.
about this 0.5 Hook 1?
God.
Actually, for a 0.5, that Hulk 1 doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. I'm not sure it looked better than the FF1 though. They're both pretty rough.
I looked at that earlier today.
How about this one for DS Comics?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right up his alley.
There you go. 4.0.
I think he's saving up for something else though. I think he's going to Baltimore Con.
Ah.
John's going to Baltimore Con too.
Yeah, John. Do some video.
Carlton 66 is going. I heard him say, and I think he said Tim Howlermouse is going with him.
Oh, wow.
And Mike will be there too.
Captain America 47. Oh, well, look at this one, John. Pay close attention to the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Killer.
It's a freaky cover.
Wowza. Ghostly weird.
Some of these I've never even heard of.
Exactly. I'm like,
There was some of these pre-code horrors or strange sort of books never even heard of before.
The Pacific Coast Highway collection. Oh, look at this. There's not a lot of big books. Okay.
Oh, I like. We got first Clayface. We got that awesome Batman cover.
Batman number 11.
Yeah, that's a book that I want to get one day, or I will get one day.
Someday.
That's right.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at this. 1,500 for 6.5. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that's.
I'm glad I grabbed one when I did.
Yeah, I got mine a couple of years ago, thankfully, and I was like, I sort of had a little bit of buyer's regret when I bought it. I was like, do I really want the first?
You know, the book
Surfer?
that go crazy is this FF2.
Yeah, because the appearances.
Yeah.
My God, I'm glad I got my copy last year before all the madness started. Yeah, I'm so happy to have my copy. There you go. Now, this is it for DS Comics.
Yeah, that's DS. That's it has his stamp of approval on it.
Yeah,
That's a great cover.
that's a killer book. My God.
Yes, 2.5. High bid is only 1,500. Only, but it's 2 days away, so there's still plenty of time for the madness.
There's always last minute bidders.
Yep, always. There's no need to bid right now. No.
Yeah. I never understood why some of these get so pricey.
About it.
5 days before it's due.
Yeah.
It's just I don't get it.
I don't get it.
So they're trying to scare away some people. I don't know.
Exactly. It doesn't work.
It does work.
Hey, I got the high bid of $400. You better get away from here. Okay, I'm really scared.
You know, FF, man, that's crazy. A 4, FF4 3.5, 1,400. That's crazy. I like this one here.
Thrilling.
Thrilling. Look at that Hitler.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, baby.
Oh my
You dead?
God.
What the hell's going on in that picture?
Look at this. Look at that. What's that?
Yeah, the
Close.
very prominent swastika and the big eagle.
Yeah.
Killer, man. That's
Look at the blankie.
beautiful book.
Exactly. Look at the blankie. I love the blankie.
Oh, look at a nice comforter. It looks so cozy.
Exactly.
Red and black, and
Just think of the hate-filled dreams you could have under that blanket.
Look at that. That's an awesome cover. My God.
Is that like? Look, wait. Go back to that. Is that a monkey on the cover?
No.
I can't really see.
What's that under the bed? Is there something under the bed?
Yeah, there's a guy hiding under the bed.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
It's Anne Frank's dad.
Jeez.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, Crime Patrol 15.
Ah, yes. It's up to 1,200 for a restored copy.
Restore copy.
Tennessee's kicking in. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Cream.
3.0. It has glue. It has tear seals, color touch, piece reattach, all kind of stuff. Oh, nice of all say it's Mussolini is under the bed.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
that's good.
that's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, that
Oh.
cover though is insane.
God, this is mine. It's mine.
Oh boy.
Stay away, people.
You better throw your $400 bid in and scare everyone else off.
Look at that.
That's great.
Wow. Come to Papa.
I mean, geez, some of these
So
covers.
much going on in that cover.
Who's your daddy?
Yeah, the Schaumburg covers, the guy's imagination. I mean, he just crammed so many little things going on in all of his covers.
Kind of reminds me of Where's Waldo, though, a little bit.
Look at all those crazy Japanese soldiers. My God, and the vice grip and everything. Oh, yeah, come to Papa. Stay away, people.
Oh, make sure you got at least $400 on that, Nick. It might
That's
scare
great.
you.
Man up and man down for that.
Yep.
Ooh, Superman.
Look at this one. What a bargain.
Got number 2, slight resto.
Glue on the spine. That's not bad.
No, when you get the books this old, though, they're always going to be, or a lot of the time, they're going to have purple labels. It's just what happened to them back then.
Yeah. Oh, my problem with slightly brittle page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's almost as bad as Rusty Staples.
Yeah, you know, slightly brittle to me is like
Almost.
dead.
Yeah.
Either dead or you're alive. There's no slightly dead.
Yeah, you can't be a little bit pregnant.
Oh, there you go. Hit this one for you, DS.
That's a nice cover. Look at that.
My goodness. Look at that crazy cover. No place to go. Yeah. At your own risk, read If I Should Die. So crazy. I'm telling you,
It's the perfect time of year to read this story like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Read it in Doylestown.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, in that creepy alleyway.
Yeah.
Look at that. Green Lantern.
$9.56.
Alrighty. Yeah, have enough? Yeah, enough for this.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so
I looked
many
at
I'm
all
gonna
these
bid. I
today.
think there's gonna be so many I'm gonna bid on. I'm like, fuck it. I won't go to New York Con next week.
Check this out.
Speed Comics.
What the heck, right? That's pretty cool too.
It is.
Another Schumberg cover for Harvey publications. Yeah. It might not be. check out the cast of characters on the cover, okay? Since this is Harvey.
The guy in the bottom right with the red jumpsuit on. What the hell's that going on there?
How
Oh, you got the guy with a slingshot.
How about the guy with the navy hat and a parachute on top?
I don't know.
Everyone's out showing off their Betty Grable game.
I mean, look, these covers are cool, but you gotta wonder the way some people were drawn.
They all show a lot of leg.
Oh my God! All right.
Black Cat.
All right, we're back to the normal thing here.
Somewhat normal.
The other question,
We're never
for you
normal.
guys. Okay, I put a link below in my description. So for those that are still watching on the chat room, there's a link below in the description where I put 2 of my favorite channels on YouTube.
Am I on there? No. Okay.
One is History Buff and one is Emergency Awesome. Either one of you guys subscribe to Emergency Awesome?
I heard trouble watching that guy.
You can't? You didn't like him?
His content's good, but he's just something's weird about him. I don't know what it is.
I am amazed.
It's distracting. I get distracted when he's on. When you see him, if he's just talking, it's okay. But
Yeah,
something about his movements.
I rarely see him in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I like that. When it comes down to movies and TV shows, regardless if it's superheroes or Game of Thrones or whatever, I love Emergency Awesome because I really like the way he explains things.
Yeah.
It works to me, hands down. That's my favorite movie/TV channel. Okay, my second favorite channel is called History Buff on my link below.
Yeah.
What that guy does is awesome. Okay, what he does is he take many movies, and he would say, and he would compare to like the real history and give you like the breakdown, like what is real, what is made up, what is fiction, what is nonfiction. From like he would like show a movie like Apollo 13, and he will break down everything so clearly. Like this part is true, this character is real, this one is a fictional. But he does it to like a ton of movies. I love it. I put him on in the background. I will listen to every single one of his analysis, and there's dozens and dozens and dozens of analysis of movies. It's awesome. It's my favorite. So before we go, we only have 8 more minutes. What are some of your favorite channels that are not comic books related?
I'll go.
I don't know if I know the names of them so much as they're just on my favorites list and my notifications. You know what I mean? I'm not real good with remembering names.
But what are they about?
But documentaries on all subjects, all periods of history. I like to watch Good Mythical Morning in the mornings. Rhett and Link, I watch Rhett. I've been watching them for years.
That's something you share with my son Anthony. He loved those two guys.
Yeah, I like Rhett and Link.
He watched those two guys for the past 4 years. Long before that, he watched. I think those guys are the first adults that he watched on YouTube. No doubt. Before that, he just watched other kids, like all the kids that do Lego toys, all that stuff. But when he saw Mythical Morning, he's just like, "Oh, this is interesting. This is fun."
And yeah, so I'm not real good with the names of the channels, but it's history stuff. There is some Beatles stuff I watch. That's about it. Otherwise, I'm a casual. I kind of surf a little bit, surf the tube.
Well, Eugene is with me in the chat room. He say history buff is fantastic. It is. It is so good. I mean,
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's checked out. The link is in the chat. So if you go back to the chat later, you can see I put a link to the channel right there because it is really good. I mean, he go from movie like 300 to Saving Private Ryan to Apollo 13 to you name it. He goes everywhere. I mean, and many of the stuff. Well, I would say many. Some of the stuff he talked about, I know because I do read up on the movie to see what's real and what's fake. But he does bring up a lot of good stuff that I didn't know, and it's really good stuff. How about you, Patrick? What's some of your favorite channels?
A lot of times it's home improvement stuff because of what I'm doing right now. Even if I'm not doing the work, I like to try to be up on it. So if someone's here working, I like to see if they actually know what they're doing. I watch a lot of food stuff. I try to eat pretty healthy, so I'm into that. Exercise stuff a little bit here and there. Mostly movies, TV, so music. Probably one of my favorites is Steve Guttenberg. He is the autophiliac, he calls himself, and he talks about audio and being an audiophile and different equipment, things like that. So he did a great video this week on under $100 setup that you can do that sounds fantastic. So I stuff like that mostly comics. So I'd say 50% of the time it's comic book stuff. And then the other half, it's everything else.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Anthony?
I like video game channels.
Mm-hmm.
I find them very relaxing. My favorite is probably Metal Jesus Rocks.
Okay.
Yeah, he's.
I thought you'd be like, my favorite channels are How to Tame Devil Child.
Oh God, we're reading books on that.
Right one.
But yeah, I'm surprised he didn't come barging through. So I think I made it throughout the hour. But no, I like Metal Jesus Rocks. I like also the Angry Video Game Nerd. I like his movie reviews. He does like these little reviews where it's like very nostalgia based because he's from the area I'm from. So he talks a lot about some of the things that I'm familiar with and so forth. So I find that charming. Not so much his video game nerd videos anymore. Just like when he's himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pretty friendly guy. But yeah, I like stuff like that and video game repair because I learned how to solder and do some sort of things through watching YouTube, and been able to do a couple of projects. So I enjoy stuff like that. I find them relaxing. Sometimes comic books are just, you know, not as relaxing.
Yeah, I watch a lot of travel, cooking. My guilty pleasure on YouTube though is watching music, like, you know, all the show like the Triple X or The Voice or American Idol. I like to watch all those singing shows. You know, because some of the people are just incredibly talented. So, yeah, if there's any guilty pleasure on YouTube for me, is to watch a lot of the audition for The Voice or whatever, X Factor or all those singing shows, because I really like to see it warmed the heart when I see people try so hard. You know, it's inspirational. Especially when you have like little kids, when they have the kids' voice, and you see like these 10, 12-year-old that can sing so well. You're like, wow, amazing. What would you consider guilty pleasure on YouTube?
Well, I'm gonna let y'all have it. That I gotta go.
There is one channel I do watch. It's called Chili Sunshine.
Bye, John.
Bye, John.
Survivor premiere. See y'all later.
Oh wow! There's
Yeah.
a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, there you go. See y'all later.
I thought John said the guilty pleasure is watching E.T. and Nick channel.
Yeah.
He's a matter of fact, he's gonna watch the rewind as soon as you load it up.
He did watch the rerun of the chat last Wednesday.
Yeah.
I know.
I can say that I have never rewatched any of my videos.
I sometimes do, because sometimes people will make a comment and I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I have to go back and look and say, what's this guy? Because I want to make sure I answer everybody, and they'll say something and then it's like, oh, they're kind of like extrapolating something I said.
Eugene in the chat room recommend a channel for you, Anthony. It's called SNES Drunk.
Oh yeah, I've watched him too. He's great.
Okay, is that
Super Nintendo Drunk?
That's what SNES means. Like,
yeah, Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Yeah, he's great. I watch him too. I watch the immortal John Hancock. He's got everything. Like you, Nick. You have everything with comics. Well, John Hancock has everything with video games. All in box too. Everything. Yes. He's so the ETA Nick of comics.
Oh, so the only comic book that was shown today is this book. And I hold it up again for C. White.
Oh.
Nice, and
it's perfectly centered as well. You know me.
Oh yes, you and your centered books.
It's one of those sit with moments when I see the book and the price. I'm just like, you're mine, daddy. Who's your daddy now? Anyhow, it's 7:59. Almost time for us to go. As always, if you have any questions, we don't answer a lot of questions because unfortunately a lot of the questions are repetitive.
Yes.
And I try to tell people that, like, feel free to ask questions if it's something new, something that we haven't talked about to depth on the channel. Okay, it's just that I understand, you know, some people don't want to go back and rewatch 2 years worth of chat, but we answered the same question many times. So other than that, it's 8 o'clock. Have a good night. Until next week.
Yeah, next week's the New York Con.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go Thursday and Saturday.
Bye. So this coming weekend's Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Bye. Say bye to people.
Peace.
Bye.